Will the Senate please come to order? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Aquino. Here. Senator Awa. Here. Senator Chang. Here. Senator DeCoit. Here. Senator Dela Cruz. Senator Elefante.
Here.
Senator Favela. Here. Senator Fukunaga. Senator Gabbard. Here. Senator Hashimoto. Here. Senator Ihara.
Present.
Senator Inoue.
Present.
Senator Kanuha. Senator Keoho Kalole. Senator Kidani. Senator Kim. Senator Lee.
Excused.
Senator McKelvey.
Aye.
Senator Moriwaki.
Present.
Senator Rhodes. Senator Richards.
Here.
Senator San Buenaventura. Senator Shimabukuro. Senator Wakai. Mr. President.
Present.
24 present, 1 excused.
Thank you. The chair has read the journal of the preceding day and approves the same. Are there any introductions this morning? Senator Kidani.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, joining us in the gallery this morning are members of our very, very fabulous Senate Majority Research Office. Please stand when your name is called and remain standing. Frederick Akau, Blake Anderson, Michael Delicata, Amanda Fife, Yukio Funaki, Noah Hoke, Elizabeth Kaur, Scott Matsuda, Maggie McGarry, Lei Sison, Effie Steiger, and Casey Manabe, who happens to be our EDU person and was always first in filing our Senate bills. Mahalo, all of you.
Any further introductions? Senator Kanuha.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I'm honored to present in the gallery a group of students visiting from Kona, Kahakai Elementary School, my alma mater, Kahakai Imua Kako. So, visiting with us again, we have a number of the student council officers, as well as members of Kahakai's student leadership group, called the Aloha Ambassadors. All of you, can you please stand up and be recognized? Mr. President, also present in the gallery are their chaperones, parent and community networking coordinators, Ricky Grace, Blasey Elvinia, and again, who stood up as well, we have Vice Principals Yuki Kaea Lyons Iglesias and Vice Principal Joy Personius. Mahalo for being here with our students. I did want to say thank you all for your hard work, dedication, and welcome to your Hawaii State Senate. Mr. President, at the appropriate time, I'd like to submit their names into the record of the Senate Journal.
The appropriate time would be when you get them compiled and ready
Thank you, Mr.
to
President.
submit. So ordered.
I also have a couple more introductions. I also have my staff finally visiting in the gallery. Antiponi, Seta, and Kepa. Please stand and be recognized. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Further introduction, Senator Aquino.
Thank you, Senate President. In the gallery, we have some hardworking caregivers. The Adult Foster Home Care Association, if they could please stand to be recognized. Thank you very much. Welcome to the Senate.
Thank you. Any further introductions? If not, maybe she humbly omitted herself from the list given to Senator Kidani, but the head of the research office sitting on the floor, Janine Jones. And again, we say this, or I say this with regularity, but it is said with sincerity to Senator Kanua's staff, to the research office, and all of the other offices. I know Senator De La Cruz and Senator Moriwaki's staff was working through the weekend to get the budget done. On behalf of the Senate, we cannot express, how grateful we are for all of the hard work you put in to allow us to get our business done. So again, a big hand for all of our support staff. Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Governor's message number 765 withdraws a nomination to the Board of Speech Pathology and Audiology, and Governor's message numbers 1108 and 1109 inform the legislature that the governor signed various bills into law as Acts 8 and 9.
File.
On pages 2 through 4, House Communication numbers 779 and 780, and on pages 11 to 14, House Communication numbers 791 and 792 inform the Senate that the House has appointed conferees for various bills. On page 5, House Communication number 781 informs the Senate that the House has reconsidered its action in disagreeing to the amendments made by the Senate to various House bills. On pages 5 through 9, House Communication number 782 informs the Senate that the House has agreed to the amendments made by the Senate to various House bills and that said bills passed final reading in the House. And on pages 9 and 10, House Communication numbers 783 to 788 return Senate concurrent resolutions which were adopted in the House unamended.
File.
On page 11, House Communication numbers 789 and 790 return Senate concurrent resolutions that were adopted in the House in an amended form for agree-disagree.
Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate disagree to the amendments proposed by the House to the Senate concurrent resolutions referenced in House Communications numbers 789 and 790.
Senator DeCoit.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. Conferees will be named at a later date.
On page 14, Senate Communication number 3 transmits notice to the governor of the final form of a Senate bill proposing amendments to the Hawai'i State Constitution.
File.
On pages 15 and 16, Standing Committee Report numbers 3917 to 3921 for one-day notice.
So ordered.
On pages 17 to 20, Advise and Consent.
If there are no objections from the members, we will be taking advice and consent on consent.
On pages 17 to 19, Standing Committee Report numbers 3891 to 3901 on Governor's messages for adoption.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes?
24 ayes.
Thank you. The nominees for said governor's messages have been confirmed.
On page 20.
Senator San Buenaventura,
May I stand for a late introduction to the
please
conferees?
proceed.
Thank you very much. I would like to welcome in the gallery GM nominees and congratulate them for their confirmation to their respected boards. If the nominees can please stand when I call your names so that we can acknowledge you. We have Wendy Botello Cortez for the Hawaii Children's Trust Fund Advisory Board. Please stand. And with her is her friend Martha Rodillas, who is very active in the county. We also have Gerald Ota for Disability and Communications Access Board. Please stand. Thank you very much. And we also have Tricia Kajimura, thank you very much, for the Health Planning Council of Honolulu Sub-Area. Congratulations on your nomination and welcome to the Senate.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
On page 20, Standing Committee Report number 3902 on Governor's Message number 594, Ryan Kanaka-Ole, gubernatorial nominee as the Deputy Director to the Department of Land and Natural Resources for adoption.
Is there any discussion? Senator Inoue.
Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. I rise to advocate for the confirmation of Ryan Kanaka-Ole as Deputy Director for the Department of Land and Natural Resources. With a career spanning governmental roles and a profound commitment to Hawaii's land and people, Mr. Kanakaole brings a wealth of experience and expertise to the position. Hailing from Waiohino, Ka'u on the Big Island, his upbringing provides him with a deep-rooted understanding of the cultural and environmental nuances crucial to DLNR's mission. His legal background, including a Juris Doctor and a certificate in Native Hawaiian law, coupled with his extensive work at the Attorney General's office, uniquely position him to navigate the complex legal landscapes and steward DLNR's diverse holdings effectively. Furthermore, his recent tenure as the interim DLNR Deputy Director showcases his readiness to assume the responsibilities of the position, evidenced by his instrumental role in legislative coordination and proactive engagement in wildfire recovery initiatives. In light of his exceptional qualifications and unwavering dedication to Hawaii's lands and people, I urge this esteemed chamber to vote in favor of Mr. Kanakaole's confirmation. Mahalo.
Thank you. Further discussion? Senator Kanuha,
In support.
please proceed.
Mr. President, I have written remarks I'd like to have inserted into the journal in support of GM 594 Ryan Kanakaole, and I also urge the rest of my colleagues to support this nominee.
So ordered. Further discussion, Senator Chang.
In opposition?
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I have permission to insert written remarks in opposition into the journal?
So ordered.
Thank you.
Further discussion, Senator Richards.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of the
Please
candidate.
proceed. You rose in support. Did you want comments inserted or just that
I
you are-
support the candidate.
Okay.
Keeping it brief.
Didn't want to cut you off too early. Thank you. Further discussion? If not, Senator Favela.
Thank you, Senate President. I stand in support of
Please
GM.
proceed.
Thank you, Senate President. GM
594.
594, sorry. My glasses made me blurry. But my vision is not blurry in the candidate's ability to help straighten out problems that we have at DLNR. We all know we have our issues, and we stand firm and strong that he's going to bring transparency and clarity to the division. So again, and then I want to insert additional comments to the journal, Senate
So
President.
ordered. Further discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes besides Senator Chang?
23 ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. Ryan Kanakaole has been confirmed as Deputy Director of the Department of Land and Natural Resources. Senator Inoue.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to introduce Ryan Kanakaole, as well as followed by several of the commissioners that we've already took action on. So at first, I'd like to introduce to all of you Ryan Kanakaole, our new Deputy Director of the Department of Land and Natural Resources. Will Ryan and members of the family and friends, I will call your names and we can hold your applause until the end. Mr. Kanakaole first. Thank you and congratulations. Okay. Coming from the South Island of our state, the esteemed family is here with him, and they're happy to be here in the Senate. May I introduce, and hold your applause till the end, we have his ohana here. Kaipo Ka'avaloa, his wife, the daughter, Mamani Ka'avaloa, son, Hole, mother, Cheryl Maisaka, sister, Tristan Maisaka, and all of the rest of the Ka'avaloas, Lionel, the father-in-law, Don, mother-in-law, Lindsay, sister-in-law, Eli Kaimi Smith, a nephew, Froy Ekolo Smith III, another nephew, sister-in-law, Laura Palea, and nieces Mia Palea and Hope Palea, Uncle Lyle Maisaka, and friends of the family, Lanea Snow Naiole, Samuel Taylor, Gyson Ontai, Jennifer Ontai, and Patrick Pihana Branco. And also seated in the gallery, the following individuals from the State Attorney General's Office: Leanne Aoki McBride, Craig Iha, Matthew Vonch, and Alisa Marie Ka'u. Aloha and congratulations. Welcome to your Senate. And Mr. President, may I introduce as well the new appointees to the Hawai'i Community Development Authority and members of their families who may be seated in the gallery. Please stand as I call your name and hold your applause for our new HCDA commissioners, Michael China, Mikiala Lidstone, Glenn Yamasaki Kimura, our good executive director of HCDA, Craig Nakamoto, and staff of HCDA, we thank you for the work that you've had been doing and continue to do. Mahalo. I'd like to also acknowledge our new commissioner appointed to the Land Use Commission, Miles Miyasato, as well as the executive director, Dan Orendecker, and members of the Land Use Commission and Ohana. Please rise and thank the staff as well. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
On page 20, final adoption of Senate Concurrent Resolution Number 43, House Draft 1, urging the Hawaii Housing Finance and Development Corporation to amend the priority for which low-income housing tax credits are allocated and monies in the Rental Housing Revolving Fund are used, and adopt certain administrative rules that incentivize the development of affordable housing in the state.
Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, I move for the adoption of Senate Concurrent Resolution Number 43, HD1.
Senator Decoit.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is approved and said resolution has been adopted.
On pages 20 to 27, adoption of resolutions. Standing Committee Report numbers 3881 to 3890 and 3903 to 3916 on resolutions for adoption.
Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, I move for the adoption of said standing committee reports.
Senator Decoit.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. Said resolutions have been adopted. Senator Awa.
Sorry about that. Can you mark down my opposition to HCR 52 HD1 SD1 and SCR 213 HD2 SD1?
So noted. Senator Favela.
Thank you, Mr. President. Note my opposition to HCR 70, HCR 196, HCR 213, Senate SB 2487, SB 2706, and then on the HCR 184, my reservations, and then on HCR 62, I voting aye on that, Senate President, but I have want to insert comments to the journal.
So ordered. So members, let's be clear. If there are no objections, we are reconsidering the adoption of resolutions on page 20 to 27. Is there further discussion? If not, are there any other objections other than those noted by Senators Awa and Favela? Are there any reservations other than those noted by Senators Awa and Favela? Said resolution, or if there are no further objections, then all resolutions on those pages have passed and have been adopted. Madam Clerk.
On page 27, final reading.
If there are no objections from the members, we'll be taking final reading on consent.
Final reading of Senate Bill 2487, House Draft 1, relating to marijuana.
Is there any discussion? Senator Elefante.
Thank you, Mr. President. And rise in opposition.
Please proceed.
Request for my written remarks to be inserted into the journal.
So ordered.
Thank you.
Further discussion? Senator Morawaki,
Thank you, Mr. President. I speak in opposition.
please proceed.
This bill raises the minimum amount of marijuana for the offense of promoting a detrimental drug in the second degree from 28 grams to 30 grams. If a joint is a third of a gram, this is an increase of 6 joints. The measure also increases the amount of marijuana promoting a detrimental drug in the third degree from 3 grams to 15 grams, or that amounts to 36 joints. Illegal marijuana is unregulated, untested, and untaxed. This creates a significant public health concern. It also contains pesticides, trace elements of metals like lead and nickel, and other toxic chemicals. Decreasing penalties for illegal marijuana sends a message to our keiki and the community that this drug is harmless. It is not. It is a threat to our number one industry, tourism, especially the Asian visitor market, and those will have impact on my district in Waikiki as well as the rest of the state. To this day, none of the agencies responsible for health and safety of our communities support expanding marijuana use, and particularly personal use. In fact, as more data come in, we learn cannabis is even more dangerous to the public health and safety than tobacco or alcohol use. States that have legalized marijuana report the availability of legalized cannabis products correlates with increased incidence of driving under the influence, resulting increased motor accidents causing injury and death. The CDC has already warned that cannabis causes harm to developing young brains, including difficulty thinking and maintaining a healthy social life. You may have received messages from IHS Director Connie Mitchell, who works tirelessly with homeless individuals, trying to find them a better place, and especially those who have mental illness and co-occurring drug abuse. She says that she has personally seen too much schizophrenia precipitated by marijuana use among younger people. And marijuana these days is more potent and often laced with other drugs like ecstasy, fentanyl, or meth. Dr. Landis Lum, the physician who heads the IHS detox program, also wrote us that THC use increases heart attacks, strokes, and even lung and testicular cancers. It also impairs judgment and slows reaction times, and like alcohol, causes increased injuries and fatalities from car crashes, falls from stairs and ladders, and so forth. So with this and many other studies that are now coming in, I ask my colleagues to vote no. Mahalo.
Thank you. Further discussion, Senator Inoue.
Thank you. I do rise in opposition to
Please
SB
proceed.
2487 relating to marijuana. And Mr. President, may I have the comments from the previous speaker, the good senator of Kaka'aku, entered into the journal as it was mine.
So
Mahalo.
ordered. Further discussion, Senator Favela.
Thank you, Senate President. I'm also voting no on Senate Bill 2487 SD1 HD1. Since I came into the square building, we tried to stop young children in smoking cigarettes and flavored tobacco, and also now we are lowering the blood quantum on alcoholism, and then now here we are having a bill like this that just goes forward. Just remember, I am not a promoter of any illegal drugs, I'm not a promoter of any alcohol. But I'm telling you right now, we're going backwards because we're telling the kids, no vape, no tobacco, no flavored tobacco, lower the blood quantum for DUIs, and then here we are with this bill. So that's why I'm opposition to this bill. Thank you, Senate President.
Thank you. Further discussion, Senator Aquino.
Okay, thank you very
And
much,
then
Senate
McKelvey.
President. No vote, written comments, please.
So ordered, Senator McKelvey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to have to rise in opposition to this, but not for reasons which some of the previous speakers have given. My concern is that this situation is playing out in other states. The Senate sent a very good, reasonable recreational legalization bill with guardrails over to the other chamber. In other states where the rush to decriminalization is outpacing their own recreational medical marijuana market, you could have a black market that could explode, thereby undercutting and creating all the safety hazards that the bill that we sent over would have addressed. And so because of that, and I think this measure should be discussed in context with that this summer in a working group, I can't support it. Aloha.
Thank you. Further discussion. Senator Richards,
I rise in opposition.
please proceed.
Decriminalization is very different from legalization. As been stated before, we have guardrails around if we go legalization, and my concern is some of the health concerns that have been raised by my colleagues, so I will be voting no. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion. If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Reservations for Senator Shimabukuro. Any no votes? No vote for Senator Kanuha, Senator Richards, Favela, Elefante, Hashimoto, McKelvey, Fukunaga, Aquino, Inoue, Kim, Decoit, Wakai, Kidani, Marwaki, Keohokalole. Senate Bill number 2487, HD1, fails to pass final reading. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Final reading of Senate Bill 2706, House Draft 1, relating to expungement of criminal records.
Is there any discussion? If not, do we have unanimous consent? Any reservations? Any no votes? No vote for Senator Favela.
Twenty-three ayes, 1 no.
Thank you. SB 2706, HD1 passes final reading.
Referrals and re-referrals.
Referrals and re-referrals are made in accordance with the supplemental orders of the day that may be filed later today.
On page 28, miscellaneous business, reconsideration of disagreement to House amendments and motions to agree. Senate Bill 2245, House Draft 2, relating to the Child Protective Act.
The Senate conferees for Senate Bill 2245 are hereby discharged. Senator San Buenaventura.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the state reconsider its previous action.
Senate, please, Senator. No, you said you moved at the state. You moved the Senate. I know you guys keep testing me, but I am awake and paying attention today.
I apologize, Senate President. Mr. President, I move that the Senate reconsider its previous action in disagreeing to the amendments made by the House to SB number 2245 and agree to said amendments.
Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Senator San Buenaventura.
Yes, thank you. This current version is a version agreed upon by all advocates, which is a rare situation. So I suggest that we accept it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Any objections? If not, the motion is carried. 1 day notice is hereby given for final reading of SB 2245 HD2.
No further business, Mr. President.
Are there any announcements today? Senator Gabbard.
Mr. President, colleagues, staff, and guests, happy Earth Day. Wore my happy Earth Day tie. I just wanted to encourage you to go out and hug a tree or take a surf or swim in the ocean or go a hike on your favorite trail. This is my 16th session chairing the Environment Committee, and I just want to say mahalo nui loa, heartfelt mahalo nui loa to my colleagues who have been voting in favor of these bills that come up that help us to protect our aina, and also to, a little emotional here, to keep paradise paradise. So mahalo and mahalo ke akua.
Senator Gabbard. Hemp hemp hooray. Are there any further announcements? If not, the chair has one. The decking deadline for the executive and judiciary budget bills in conference is 11:30 p.m. tonight. Senator Wakai.
Mr. President, I move that the Senate stand in recess, leaving the journal open until midnight for the receipt of conference committee reports for HB 1800 and HB 1911, and I further move that the Senate reconvene tomorrow at 11:30 in the morning.
Senator Decoit.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. If there are no objections from the members, the Senate will stand in recess, leaving the Journal open until midnight, and will reconvene at 11:30 a.m. tomorrow.